Hi there everyone, welcome to my channel Aqualuna73. This isn't going to be a reading, okay, it's like a discussion. I want to have a discussion with you guys about something, okay. So when I make the thumbnail, I'm going to indicate what this discussion is about. I'm not sure how long this is going to take. So I'm going to try and thumbnail. Not thumbnail. Yeah, thumbnail the stuff. Not thumbnail, timestamp, sorry. Timestamp the stuff so that you can skip to the part that you want to watch, okay? So this is going to be several things that I feel that I need to talk about that was placed in my heart that I need to talk about. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is, okay, so there's several things that I made notes of here. We're going to talk about fear. We're going to talk about secret societies. We're going to talk about dark matter, dark energy, and normal matter. We're going to talk about prophets and prophecy, about Nostradamus, the astrologer. You all know him. And what statistical learning is and recognizing patterns. And the last thing we're going to talk about is technology. Okay, and how this fits into everything. So, I'm not an expert on anything, okay? But I do feel, okay, maybe on some things, but not everything. There are people that specialize in different areas in life, whether in science, maths, literature. Everybody has their type of speciality, okay? And that being said, this is an opinion. You don't have to take it as facts. This is why I always suggest to people when they watch my content, or any content for that matter, where people try to bring across some type of belief or something that they've learned, you need to take everything with a pinch of salt, and you need to be discerning and decide for yourself whether this is something that you can relate to or believe in, etc. and so forth. So I'm going to drink some water quickly, okay? So, the first thing is fear. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this device here and we're going to look up a few quotes about fear and what it says about fear. We'll start with fear. Okay, there are several people that have several things to say about fear, but I'm just going to take two quotes. Fear is nothing, oh my God, fear is nothing more than an obstacle that stands in the way of progress. In overcoming our fears, we can move forward, stronger and wiser within ourselves. Okay? Fear is nothing more than an obstacle that stands in the way of progress or learning. I would say learning. Okay? And overcoming our fear, we can move forward, stronger and wiser within ourselves. I'm sorry, the writing is very small. I can't make out. Okay, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. This is the other quote. Okay. So, most religions, most religious practices, even spiritual practices, are built on the basis of fear. Or even I can say fear is also associated with your fight or flight mode. Fear is also associated with protecting yourself from anything that you feel could be harmful to you. Okay, so fear is something that has been utilized and monetized to a great extent. I don't want to go into this. If you want to understand how fear played a role in our world and how it impacted our world through religion, through social norms, through rules, through laws and stuff like that, you need to go do this research yourself, because it's much more deeper. It's like going down a rabbit hole, basically. So fear is the basis of a lot of things in this world, okay? And this is something that we need to move away from. Even if you go on YouTube, the past few days even, that I've went on YouTube and I see some channels pop up, and it's not necessarily tarot channels. It's mostly people that, especially now with the elections in that was, and the inauguration of the American president, there were all these prophecies channels and people that prophesized and made these prophecies, and this is going to happen, and the end of the world, and all those things, okay? So basically types of videos like these, or even you get those videos, if you don't click on this, God is not going to bless you, or if you skip this, Jesus is going to be very upset, okay? Stuff like that, okay? And I consider it very stupid, because I think it's mostly like just bait. It's basic like bait, and people use this bait to draw people in, okay? So that bait is basically based in fear, because nobody, even if you look at yourself as a child, you would do anything in your power not to pee off your parents or your peers, okay? So if somebody comes to you and say, if you don't do this, this is going to happen, your immediate instinct is to do this thing, because you do not want harm to come to yourself, okay? Do you understand where I'm going with this? So most people, they base their spiritual practices, they base, even tarot channels, they base their spiritual practices on fear. By instilling fear, they keep their audience, okay? They're basically keeping their audience in the state of fear, and it sells. And it doesn't release these people, it just keeps them in a bind, like somebody that's in cuffs, okay, that is in a jail or something, okay? So this is, I want you to actually really take time out to absorb how deeply rooted fear is in our society. The next thing we're going to talk about is secret societies. I made a video a few days ago where I mentioned, I deleted this video because I wasn't satisfied with the video, and now I'm doing it over again. I was talking about secret societies, and usually people see the Illuminati and the Freemasons and these lots of other types of even witch covens and stuff like that as secret societies, okay? And a secret society is associated with secrets, it's associated with mystery, it's associated with just a certain group of people that have privileges that other people do not have. And if you look at it, there's nothing special about the Illuminati. There's nothing special about the Freemasons, okay? And let me tell you why. Because everybody at the end of the day can consider themselves special. Scientologists, there's loads of other types of churches and stuff like that, okay? And these are all types of societies, okay? And fraternities, or whatever you want to call them. And if you belong to a certain group of people or a church, anybody can start a secret society. Basically, you just don't have to tell anybody about it. You start this organization and you invite a few friends and you say, okay, you're bound by this principle not to tell anybody else what's going on. And with it comes perks and privileges. And I also mentioned you get different societies, okay? Say, for instance, I mentioned my dad belonged to the Reader's Digest. And every month he would pay a subscription and he would get a whole bunch of books. And sometimes he would get a free gift, okay? And this was the type of perks that you got belonging to the Reader's Digest. It's the same with a person that belongs to some type of fraternity or a secret organization or a church or a cult. There's some type of advancement associated with this, because even if you look at politicians, okay, politicians group together, certain countries group together because they have a vested interest in each other, uh, in helping each other, etc. Okay, so there's nothing, I wouldn't say sinister. Yeah, there are sinister things. They might do illegal things and stuff like that. Okay, but there's nothing special about these types of organizations, because at the end of the day, all the type of stuff that they claim that they possess, it's in our reach as well. Because most of the stuff, like the secret teachings, the law of one, there's a whole lot of people that wrote a whole lot of books and stuff that we can read up on and study and do meditations and yoga and go on a pilgrimage to India, and we can all do that stuff now. Okay, it's not secret anymore. There's nothing special about it anymore. And the reason why I'm talking about these things is I want people to take away their fear for these types of things, because at the end of the day, the people, or there's no secret entities behind these things. It's just human beings trying to scare the shit out of you. That's all. Okay, and this is all they want to do, because they want to intimidate you to basically believe what they believe, belong to what they belong. It's like factions that I spoke about when I made that post about Divergent. Okay, so at the end of the day, anybody can start a secret society. Anybody can do something. Okay, I was thinking about something now. I'm not going to mention it. Okay, say for instance you're a clown. I'm going to make a stupid example. Okay, a story about a clown. And this clown, or this individual, had a big nose. And they couldn't get the job anywhere because of this big nose that they had. And they start noticing this group of individuals, and they also have big noses like him or her. Okay, and they feel they belong to the people with the big noses, and they fit in there, basically. So it's more to do with where you feel you fit in, where you feel you belong. Okay, I don't know, this is just my opinion. Anyway, the next thing we're going to talk about is dark matter, dark energy, and normal matter. I just want to drink more water. So I'm going to just explain to you what it is and why I want to talk about this. But first I want to give you an overview of, explanation of what it is. Dark matter. While both dark matter and dark energy are invisible substances that make up the vast majority of the universe, I want you to listen carefully to this. The key difference is that dark matter acts like a gravitational force pulling galaxies to get together. Okay, that's what dark matter does. While dark energy acts as a repulsive force, causing the universe to expand and accelerate. Okay, essentially dark matter holds structure together while dark energy pushes them apart. And then you get, okay, what is the other one? Normal matter. Sorry, my nose is itching. Can you just hold on a second? I'm just going to find something to. Nose is itching. Sorry. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. So where was I? So normal matter, okay? In the universe, normal matter in the universe refers to the matter that we can see and interact with. And this includes the stars, the planets, the galaxies, gas, and everything composed of atoms. And it only makes up a small percentage around us, which is 5% of the total matter in the universe, with the majority being comprised of dark matter, which is invisible to us but detectable through its gravitational force as well as dark energy. Okay, so it's not dark matter and dark energy is not something that you can see. So a lot of people would interpret this, if they are spiritual, the spiritual world, the realms, the dimensions, and stuff like that. Okay, so the reason why I'm bringing this up is there is something that I've noticed in the spiritual world. There was this incident, or not an incident, but a reel that I saw of a woman, an Indian woman. She was explaining as to why people shouldn't wear black, and this white woman was playing this video, and she explained that black absorbs light, and it's true. I have nothing against what they're saying, but I don't understand why they're discouraging people from wearing black. I'm wearing black right now. I wear black all the time. I don't know exactly what they're implying with people wearing black. But I don't know what to make of all of the stuff that I notice in the world. I just get so, I'm so dumbfounded. I don't know if I'm dumbfounded by some people's stupidity or the lack of them not wanting to learn or actually taking the time out to teach themselves things, or I don't know. It's frustrating, to be honest, because at the end of the day, you have to share this world with a bunch of idiots, and you have to navigate yourself through a sea of idiots. So basically, I don't know who's going to take offense by what I say, but if it offends you, please just leave, okay? Because then I'm not for you. So the reason why I'm talking about normal matter and dark matter, we compromise, we as humans, we compromise the 5%, okay? Now we're going to talk about the dark matter. We are part of the 5%. Where is the other one about the dark matter now? Okay. Like I said to you, dark matter acts as a gravitational force pulling galaxies together. Okay, it's like it wants to unite galaxies. And then dark energy is a repulsive thought. I mean, a repulsive force. A repulsive force. Okay? And what is repulsion? Repulsion is when you object, or there's like something that, when you repel something, basically there's something that you do not either like, or you're rejecting something. Okay? But at the same, in this, it says here, it's a repulsive force. I'm trying to put it into a perspective as a human experience. Okay, so just bear with me here. I'm trying to put this dark matter and this dark energy into a human experience so that you can understand, or try to explain it on a perspective that you would understand this. So like I said, dark matter is a gravitational force that pulls things together. But there's also this dark energy, okay? The dark energy, I know for a fact, is a bigger percentage than the dark matter, okay? This I know. You can go look it up yourself if you don't want to believe me. Okay, so basically what dark energy does, it's a repulsive force, and it causes the universe to expand at an accelerating rate. In other words, new galaxies are formed, new worlds are formed, and stuff like that. Okay, so basically, in my opinion, if you look at it from a perspective of a human perspective, or maybe a spiritual experience, or a dark night of the soul experience, where a person, like a Persephone experience, where the person goes into the underworld, which could be considered maybe as a dark energy. And what happens there is, if you in this dark night of the soul, or when you're working with your shadow, you're basically gaining some type of knowledge which helps you to grow. In other words, it might not be a good experience. It's not a nice experience, but it's a expanding experience. It's an experience you're repulsed by this experience, but in the same energy, while you're being repulsed by this energy also teaches you something, and it helps you to expand and grow and learn. Okay, so this is why I'm saying you can teach people do not wear black. You can teach people it absorbs energy. But if you want people to understand something on a very scientific level, you have to go deeply into quantum physics, into quantum mechanics, into the laws of nature and all those things to understand. Okay, you're telling me why. Okay, and you're saying, okay, it absorbs light. Why does it absorb light? Why do I need to stay away from the specific color? Because it absorbs it. You have to give people explanations. Don't tell people, don't do this and don't do that. But why? There are some people that are going to ask me, you're telling me not to do this. You're telling me not to believe in this. You're telling me not to go there. There must be a reason for this. Okay. And anyway, I think the reason why I'm bringing this up is also, I think this is what's busy happening. Yeah, this is why I picked up this morning, why I picked up the factions, okay, of the Divergent movies. I picked up the factions, and that there are different factions in the world, which is the truth at the end of the day. Okay, and if you look at it from a certain perspective, factions can be divided into societies, secret societies, churches, uh, organizations like businesses, conglomerate companies, and all those things. Okay, it can be anything. The word cabal is coming to mind. Okay, so I want people to take the time out to learn about these things instead of just believing things and people talking fear into you. Like I spoke earlier about these videos that pop up that says you have to choose Jesus and he's the only way, and if you don't do this, God is going to punish you, and if you don't do that, you please just, oh, it's so, God, I'm annoyed. Jesus, I want people to move away from fear. I want people to understand it's not something that we need in this new world that we're going to enter, because it's not helpful to us for our growth as humans. But at the end of the day, we should also, Elon Musk is coming to mind, we should stop idolizing people like him, because we see, okay, this guy sending rockets out to space and he makes electric cars. He must have our best interest at heart. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Elon Musk is just a businessman, a billionaire. The people behind his companies are doing the work. He's not the engineer. He's just the guy that receives the money. He didn't do all the work. There are people working for him that did the work. This is what you have to consider first. Secondly, what is secondly? Secondly, you cannot assume because a person sends rockets out to space and he likes comes to you and he tells you, okay, he appears on Joe Rogan podcast and he appears on this or that show. This automatically makes him a perfect candidate to use as one of our leaders. Okay, that doesn't make him a leader. That doesn't make him the appropriate person. A person that's a leader is someone responsible, someone that would consider a lot of things before they decide to do something. And I'm going to make an example, and a lot of people may not agree with me, but if this is the best example that I can think of at this moment of someone that I considered as a good leader. Okay, and this person may not have been perfect. Some people consider him as a terrorist. That would be Nelson Mandela. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give you a definition what a terrorist is. Okay, there is this insert of Trevor Noah, where he makes a joke about terrorism and what does a terrorist constitute, or what people develop their own interpretation of what something is. Okay, they like to label something and explain it in their way because it suits them. But when I look back when Nelson Mandela was freed, and the reason why I'm using him as an example of someone that I consider as, I wouldn't say a perfect leader, a sensible leader, is he didn't let hate overtake his senses or his common sense for that matter. And when he had these talks with the white government back then, the apartheid government with F.W. de Klerk and those people, I'm sure he didn't like them, not necessarily. He didn't necessarily like those people, but he was trying to put his own personal feelings aside for and understand, listen, if you look into the history of Africa and all the civil wars that occurred, not even in Africa, but all over the world, the civil wars that occurred where people fought for freedom, the citizens of the countries fought for freedom in the countries. This is something that Nelson Mandela tried to prevent because he was a history person. He understood the impact of war, the cost of lives. And I think one of the biggest reasons why I decided to do this smooth transition, I would say, sort of smooth transition into a new government, is he wanted to prevent bloodshed. He wanted to prevent these people from getting hurt, because at the end of the day, if there would have been a civil war in South Africa, who are the people that are going to suffer? It's not the government. It's the ordinary people. They're not capable of defending themselves. Okay, so there's a lot of things that stupid people need to think before they talk. Okay, it's annoying. So yeah, think before you speak. The next thing we're going to talk about is, I would suggest you go study up on these things, this dark matter, dark energy, normal matter. I know some of us are not science buffs, but educate yourself to such a deep extent that you don't get swayed easily by other people's opinions, their beliefs, because there's a lot of people that want you to grab onto their ideals and stuff like that. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is Nostradamus, prophets and prophecy. Everybody knows who Nostradamus was. Everybody knows him. He was an astrologer. He was a mathematician, educated man. And yeah, he was mostly an astrologer, and he wrote a book. And this book was a book of prophecies. Okay. And most of the things that people, there's a lot of controversy surrounding these prophecies that he made. And if you're not educated into a certain subject, you would, especially people who don't have a lot of education, and this is why people get easily swayed by opinions, ideas, and beliefs, because they're not educated in a certain regard. Okay, so Nostradamus was educated. He was an astrologer. He studied astrology. He also studied what is the other thing? He wanted to get a doctorate in something. I can't remember what. But most of his prophecies that he wrote was based on planetary alignments, on uh, in what do you call that? Is geometry, okay? Because geometry is something that is used by astrologers to work out charts and stuff like that, okay? I mean the planetary charts and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of measurements and stuff that's taking place, and charts that are worked out and so forth. So if you're not educated in a certain regard, it's easy to convince people of the mystery of prophecies and so forth. So basically what I'm trying to imply here is, if somebody comes to you and they tell you they're a prophet, I would take, or that they have prophetic visions and stuff like that. You can believe them, but there's nothing mysterious about it. There's nothing there's nothing to be scared of, to be honest, because at the end of the day, people that claim they are seers, even me, okay, people that can see certain things or visualize certain things, or they get certain downloads, okay, this is not me talking against seers or people that claim they can predict certain things. This is not what I'm here for. What I'm trying to explain is this: I want to take the mystery out of these things so that people do not fear these things and cling on to people that say they're a prophet, and they start to worship this individual because this person comes across as someone holy or something. This is so unnecessary, okay? Because at the end of the day, these people that claim they are prophets or psychics or seers, it's just that we are good in detecting patterns and bullshit, to be honest. This is all. We're bullshit detectors. We can see certain patterns in certain scenarios. And if you look at the world, even if the tarot deck has major arcana, minor arcana. Major arcana is life lessons that you have to learn. It's almost like the laws of nature. It's there. Everybody has to adhere to it. Okay, you cannot budge it. I made a reading about the coercion, divine, or the law, or laws for that matter. Okay, there's coercion involved. So the reason why you're being coerced by nature to do certain things is there's a certain pattern or natural law that needs to stay intact. In other words, if something there is troubled, there's some type of chaotic thing that's going to happen. Do you understand where I'm going with this? So this is basically what seers do. They predict patterns, okay? And some people are just better at it than others. It doesn't mean that the world doesn't have control over these things that happen or are predicted. It's this: people have certain habits and behaviors, and they really, if ever, stray away from these certain behaviors. These behaviors and patterns and beliefs and societal norms and stuff, we pass it on to our kids, and they grow up with it, and they teach it to their kids and stuff like this, okay? So basically this pattern stays in the family or stays in some type of society. And and it's still ingrained there in the back of your mind, in whichever society you might fall into, or category for that matter. So now someone comes in your maybe world, wherever you might live, and this person predicts certain things, like with Brian in Monty Python. Okay, he was wise, and he was knowledgeable, and he gave advice to people, and at the end of the day everybody worshipped him and said he was the Messiah. So this is basically what it boils down to, is that there are certain group of individuals that are not capable of thinking for themselves. They don't, I wouldn't say they're dumb. It's more like they lack the desire to teach themselves, or they basically just fall into a certain category of people that are NPCs or something to that effect, and there's not much you can do about that. But there are certain people that do want to learn, certain people that do want to grow and be more in whatever regard, whether it's spiritually or otherwise. Okay, so basically the point I'm trying to make is, do not be scared by people that are claiming they are prophets. Do not be swayed by people like this. And if a person predicts something, yes, you can take it seriously, but we also have control over ourselves, our own immediate world. Okay? And like I always tell, this major arcana and minor arcana. Minor arcana is basically daily happenings, daily stuff that you have to go through. And major arcana is major lessons, life lessons and stuff that you have to learn. So we need to learn to take the fluctuations of life and understand that this is normal, seasonal. Everything is seasonal, everything is always fluctuating, everything is always changing. There wouldn't be a quote that says change is the only constant that we have. Okay, the people that think of these quotes and sayings, they know these things. Okay, so somehow I hope that whatever I'm telling you here is having an effect on you, that you shy away from being fearful anymore. Okay, so what is next? Like I said, we recognize patterns, and there is this phrase, statistical learning, which is associated with recognizing patterns, and this is something that we all as humans have. All of us have it recognized. We can recognize patterns, all of us. Some of us are just better than others. All of us have the ability to communicate telepathically, be CSB, or yeah, predict stuff and so forth. We all have these types of abilities. Some people have maybe just the ability to tap into it better than others. Okay. Okay, this is it. I covered fear, I covered secret societies, dark matter, dark energy, and normal matter. Prophets and prophecy, Nostradamus, astrologer, and we pick patterns, statistical learning. Okay, the last thing on this list. Okay, there's this phrase in the Bible that I also want to mention, because I see I wrote it down here: the meek shall inherit the earth. Meek has different meanings. Okay, I just wanna, let's go see the different meanings of meek. Come on, where is it? Patient, long-suffering, forbearing, resigned, gentle, quiet, shy, retiring, reverent, peaceful, peaceable, docile, lamb-like, mild, demure, modest, humble, lowly, diffident, unassuming, I don't know what. unpretentious, unambitious, unobtrusive, submissive, yielding, unresisting, obedient, compliant, tame, biddable, tractable, differential, weak, timid, frightened, spineless, spiritless, unprotesting. I cannot agree with that. The meek didn't inherit the earth. If you look at it the way it is, maybe, hopefully in the future, if the meek start to study, if the meek start to teach themselves things and knows the patterns of the world, they will know that the meek didn't inherit the earth. No. So the last thing we're going to talk about now is a quote that my son is into IT. Okay, just hold on, I'm going to wipe my nose again. I have allergies, okay. I have allergies, so excuse me. So the other thing I also want to mention is my son, like I said, my son is in IT. I'm not going to say it exactly. I think I did mention what specifically it does. But we are very close, me and my kids, and sometimes we have long conversations. And one day we had this conversation after not before he ended up in the career path that he's in now. He told me, Mom, the nearest thing we as humans are going to come to being gods is with technology. So yeah, it's the truth. If you look at everything, AI, and if you look at movies like I, Robot, that Will Smith movie, and then there are a lot of movies about AI taking over the world and stuff like that. Okay, I'm into science fiction, by the way. But sometimes it's alarming and scary because of what it borders on, especially it starts to border on the God border, if I can say that. And this is where the fear sets in for a lot of people. But I don't want to sound like a crazy scientist, but I'm probably going to sound like one. I'm not a scientist, but I'm going to sound like one. But at the end of the day, if you look at certain things like progress, for the human race to make progress, there's always certain sacrifices that has to be made, even, and usually it consists of life. Life is usually the type of sacrifice that is made. And why I'm saying this is, I'm going to make an example. For example, if you look at medicine, modern medicine today, a lot of the stuff that we know today that are helpful to people were actually stuff that were tested on certain living beings before it was used on humans, to make sure that it wasn't harmful to humans. Do you get where I'm going with this? So there is a certain type of diabolical aspect going along with things bordering on being a god, or the type of direction the world is taking, okay? And there are certain people that are fearful of this, because at the end of the day, we as humans, we don't want progress to become our downfall. Okay, so I don't know, it's good to advance, but I think at the end of the day, if you look at movies like Harry Potter, the Philosopher's Stone, and movies where they talk about the Philosopher's Stone or alchemy, and or the essence of life or whatever. There's always something associated with everlasting life, even in religion, because people have a fear of dying and of the unknown, and this is why they want to stay in a safe zone. Okay, so I don't know what to say about this, but maybe I should say to people who are into, I would say, technology, or I don't know what to say. There's nothing much I can say. Nothing is going to happen if I don't say it or say it, but yeah, we maybe should just be careful as humans that we don't self-destruct at the end of the day because of all the things that we develop in this world. And if you look at science fiction movies or movies like 100 where the world ends because of nuclear war or something, you will always see people go back to basics. Even in the stuff that the games that my son plays, like Far Cry. Okay, is it Far Cry? Okay, that games that with the end of the world in mind, you will always notice people go back to basics. The world changes and everybody goes back to a time where there were no electricity, where everything was done by hand and stuff like that, because we are so obsessed with growing and progress. We neglect a whole lot of other things. So yeah, technology is a good thing. It's very good. It helps in the medicine world. It helps for us to be healthier and live longer at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, this is all it's about, to make life easier and live longer, isn't it? So yeah, we have to be careful about these things. Anyway, I don't know what else to add. I don't know what else to add. I think I've covered everything. I don't know what else to add. Let's see, did I write something here that I know? That's everything. So this is it, guys. This is it. I don't know if it's going to be helpful. I don't even know if I'm going to post this video. We'll see about that. Anyway, take care. I love you guys. Bye.